J.V. Stalin. The counter-revolution is mobilizing. Prepare to resist. October 10, 1917. Source: Works, Volume 3, March to October, 1917. Publisher: Foreign Languages Publishing House, Moscow, 1954. The revolution lives. Having thwarted the Kornilov revolt and stirred up the front, having swept the towns and awakened the industrial districts, it is now spreading to the countryside and sweeping away the hated pillars of landlord rule. The last prop of compromise is falling. The fight against the Kornilov revolt dispelled the compromise illusions of the workers and soldiers and rallied them around our party. The fight against the landlords will dispel the compromise illusions of the peasants and muster them around the workers and soldiers. In a fight against the defensists, and in spite of them, a revolutionary front of workers, soldiers and peasants is being built. In a fight against the compromisers, and in spite of them, this front is growing and becoming stronger. The revolution is mobilizing its forces and expelling the Menshevik and socialist revolutionary compromisers from its midst. At the same time, the counter-revolution is also mobilizing its forces. The Cadet Party, that hotbed of counter-revolution, is the first to start the fight by agitating on behalf of Kornilov. Having taken over the power and unchained Savorn's yelping curs, having cloaked itself in the mantle of the socialist revolutionary Menshevik Kornilov pre-parliament and assured itself the support of the counter-revolutionary generals, the Cadet Party is plotting another Kornilov revolt and threatening to crush the revolution. The Moscow Union of Public Men, that union of lockout men and of the gaunt hand of famine, which helped Kornilov to strangle the soldiers and workers and to disperse the Soviets in the rear and the committees at the front, is convening 3 days from now a second Moscow conference, to which it is urgently inviting representatives of the Union of Cossack troops. At the front, particularly in the south and the west, a secret league of Kornilovite generals is feverishly organizing a new attack upon the revolution, and is mustering all the forces suitable for this foul work. And the Kerensky government, the government which in conjunction with Kornilov hatched the plot against the revolution, is preparing to flee to Moscow in order, after surrendering Petrograd to the Germans, to hatch another and more formidable plot against the revolution in conjunction with the Rybushinskys and Berishkins, the Kaledins and Alexeyevs. There is no possible room for doubt. In opposition to the front of revolution, a front of counter-revolution, a front of the capitalists and landlords, of the Kerensky government and the pre-parliament is forming and gaining strength. The counter-revolutionaries are plotting another Kornilov revolt. The first Kornilov conspiracy was thwarted, but the counter-revolution was not crushed. It merely retreated, hid behind the back of the Kerensky government and entrenched itself in new positions. The second Kornilov conspiracy, now being hatched, must be utterly crushed in order to safeguard the revolution for good. The first counter-revolutionary offensive was thwarted by the workers and soldiers, by the Soviets in the rear and the committees at the front. The Soviets and committees must take every measure to ensure that the second counter-revolutionary offensive is swept away by the full might of the Great Revolution. Let the workers and soldiers know, let the peasants and sailors know that the fight is for peace and bread, for land and liberty, against the capitalists and landlords, against the profiteers and marauders, against the traitors and treasonmongers, against all who do not want to put an end once and for all to the Kornilovites who are now organizing. The Kornilovites are mobilizing. Prepare to resist. Rabiki Put, number 32, October 10, 1917. End of The Counter-Revolution is Mobilizing. Prepare to Resist, by J.V. Stalin.